As you can see by the length of the video here, it's not going to be particularly long. What I did today was just wrap up the new sections that I had been editing for a while. Though those first three chapters that I seem to talk endlessly about, today was like the final day of just doing the final touch-ups at this point. So I am done with those for now. I'm going to come back at some point and do more revisions, but I'm done. What you're actually seeing on the page right now is actually me just copying and pasting over the sections and then creating a new Word document and sending that new section over to my critique group. My writing process, generally speaking, involves doing a lot of just drafts and revisions of a story, and then once I'm at a point where I want someone else to see it, where I want like some really good feedback, I send it off to my critique group, and then my critique group will obviously go through and basically just obviously off their feedback, and then I'll take that and make those kind of corrections. And at that point, yes, there are still, drafts I'll be doing of the story. But once I've gotten, like the kind of the thumbs up, like hey, a lot of this is good to go, fix up these sections here and it looks good. Once I've gotten to that level of the story, I know I'm getting close. I know I'm getting close to getting done. And it's an important aspect of the writing process to have some sort of critique group, someone else to take a look at your work. When I talk about writing, obviously it sounds like you, the writer, are against the world, right? It's like you by yourself against the world. However, stories are very rarely ever written in a vacuum. Oftentimes, someone else looks at your work, and generally, having a good critique group is probably one of the best resources to have if you're a writer, just because the feedback is awesome, and if you can get used to having your work critiqued, it obviously makes you a much better writer, because you're much more, being able to take criticism is obviously important, but it also detaches you a bit. You're a bit less detached. You're a little bit less attached to your story. You're a bit less attached to what you've worked on. It's no longer just, your baby. It's a project. It's a project that you're hoping that the world will eventually see. And that's a big thing to learn, is being willing to sort of let go of certain aspects of the story, or not be as tied down to the idea that your story is this masterpiece that can never be improved or something like that. Not to say you shouldn't fight for. I've talked before about how I, at one point, did fight for a story of mine, and nothing, it didn't necessarily work out the best in my favor. So I've talked before about, you need to take a stand on certain creative things at certain times. But in general, critique groups are awesome, and yeah, having that sort of feedback system is, I think, vitally important. Someday I'll talk more about that. Someday I'll actually go more into discussing critique groups and what to look for, all that stuff. But for now, the important thing is to have that kind of resource. Looking ahead now, I'm going to be going on to revising the last 50 pages now. It's going to be a lot of rewrites, so I'm probably going to be doing a lot of studying right now. Coming up in the coming days, I'll be doing tons of reading, and just really looking to maybe see other books that have maybe pulled off endings that are similar to mine in a way, that I can sort of mimic their technique. Just going back to the masters again, seeing what techniques I can kind of pull and extract and then use for myself. So that'll be my next, probably my next week or so. As much as I've talked about getting the last 50 pages rewritten. By the end of this month, I don't know if it's going to happen. We've got about 2.5 weeks left, and I got probably about at least a week of studying to come up with some sort of idea of what to do here. So we'll see. If not, I got plenty of time. I still have the entire fall to get this thing done, so plenty of time. All right, but I'm going to call it here. I will see you all tomorrow.